Cheers!
Welcome to Movie Bitches!
Episode 64. So, tonight we're reviewing a movie that we have been eagerly just anticipating. It's none other than Robert Zemeckis' The Walk. Or as we keep calling it, The Wire.
My wire.
The wire. The wire.
The wire.
The Wire. So, if you're living under a rock and you haven't seen the trailers for this.
And you haven't seen Man on Wire.
Well, right. So, The Walk is a movie based on a true story about a French man who walked a tightrope that he strung between the two twin towers.
I saw the trailer for this, and I thought, why? There's already a perfectly great documentary about this exact subject. Aside from the fact that the movie just has no point, I feel like I should mention Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's weave.
Oh my god. And his accent.
Which is terrible. His accent. He sounds like Pepe Le Pew.
The dialogue with all of the people in New York. Literally any New Yorker. I was like, it was such a character.
Welcome to New York. Anything to declare?
The New York cops are like, hey, you! Oh, we got a frog over here! He's a frog!
Good luck.
Every single time he meets a new person,
Yep.
or has some downtime, or doesn't have some downtime, he makes different models. And then this wire, and then he keeps making little dummy hymns out of gum wrappers, and it happens at least 5 times. And we're like,
we get it!
I know what walking on a wire looks like. What do you...
These are the small problems. Okay, so it's interesting because...
Yeah.
Well, I think we did ourselves a disservice by seeing this movie in 2D. And hear me out. Because I'm sure you all know by this point that April and I just not on the 3D train.
No.
Not getting on. It's long out of the station.
Yeah, it's
never.
It's left.
Yep.
It's not, there's no coming back from it.
But.
Yeah.
I think that we missed out because I think that this movie was built around 3D. Because I think that this movie was meant to play at an IMAX theater at a science museum in New York.
I could see that, but only for the last 20 minutes.
Well, right.
The first hour and a half is just boring. It's okay, let's take the Ocean's 11 planning scene and the music and let's stretch it into an hour and a half, but let's add bad French accents.
Yep. And weird,
that's
flashbacks.
what the movie was.
Do you remember when they flashed back to when he was younger?
When they flashed back to France, and all of a sudden it was Schindler's List because everything was in black and white except for a few things that were in color.
And what was even weirder about it to me was that it drops that at no particular point.
No.
He goes to the dentist because he ate a marble.
And then in the middle...
and then they're just as he walks in,
the color bleeds in, and it's never mentioned again. This movie is so terrible.
It's so bad.
It's getting really great reviews, and I genuinely don't understand why. There's other movies where I'm like, it's not my cup of tea.
Right.
I get it, or whatever. This movie is not a movie. I just gotta set the stage. We're 2 minutes into the movie, and I lean over to Andrew and I say, this might be the worst movie I've ever seen. And I recently, watched Wicked Stepmother with Bette Davis. It was insane.
The tone of this movie.
So basically, Joseph Gordon-Levitt narrates the whole movie. But he doesn't just narrate it, he is green screened onto the Statue of Liberty's torch with the Twin Towers in the background, and he talks right to the camera. And so he'll be like, oh, hello, now I am in France, and this is what I'm doing. I learned how to juggle, I learned how to do this, and he's talking right to the camera.
It was a mess!
Do you think they filmed those? Do you think that was always the point? Or they filmed those later and went, oh, we gotta figure out how to, I don't know. Was that always the plan?
I feel like it was always the plan.
Oh my god. I mean, it looks like a fake movie.
It does. Well, that's what I'm saying.
It looks like When in Rome, when they're like they clearly ran out of money and they're that Kristen Bell movie. They like legitimately ran out of money, and it is. We'll show you. It is just.
No, but I mean, I honestly felt like this movie was meant to be shown.
I see what you're saying.
In like a special...
in 7th grade, we went to see like the Galapagos at the Science Museum.
Exactly, where he's like, oh, hello, dear museum goers.
Oh my God, you're
I
so
am here to tell you about these beautiful buildings that were once here, and how I strung my wire.
The perfect place to hang my wire.
It's like the Indiana Jones ride when Sala is like, oh, you braved the caverns, and now you will come with me on this daring adventure.
Welcome, my friends, to the Temple of the Forbidden Eye.
Or you know what it reminded me of? Was Jurassic Park and the DNA guy.
Oh yeah, like
where they all go into the screening and they're like, here's the story about DNA and how we created dinosaurs. This is how I strung my wire.
My wire. It definitely felt like, you're right, like educational.
Yeah.
And yet I don't feel like I learned much.
No. Are you ready?
Oh my God.
So, the most absurd moment of this film, and I think the moment when really most of the audience came over to our dark side. So he has walked back and forth maybe a couple times now on this wire.
Yeah, it's like Benny Hill. Like it's like, oh, the cops are on this side. Oh, the cops are on that side. Oh no, and it's like it got a little old.
So then he's like, well, then the cops were out there, so I had nowhere to go. So I said, well, they can't get me on my wire.
Spot on impersonation. But actually, kind of.
He then goes into the middle of the wire and lies down on the wire.
Yeah.
I was lying there, staring up at the sky. And all of a sudden, I saw a bird.
But then this
horribly CG'd seagull pigeon.
Just like, ah! Like, it comes on so like aggressively. I like couldn't. I like had a moment. Then it cuts to the seagull's face,
like
and
a
it's
bright red eye,
like a devil eye.
I think it was an albino pigeon.
Why does that detail? But it was a seagull, not a pigeon.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a seagull.
Okay.
Because it was like, ah! I mean, I can't express to you enough how stupid it was and how bad it looked.
Like, I can't. No, I almost just said to you, April, I have to leave.
It's so weird because I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I do.
Most of the time.
Yep.
But this was weird. It was very like, don't you find me delightful? And I was like, no.
No.
His performance was, imagine Roberto Benigni, right? You got it?
Mm-hmm.
But he's French.
Mm-hmm.
But he's on a green screen, like, just being wacky.
I mean, I can't, like, I feel like I have to,
You have to get it out.
I'm afraid that I'm going to fuck up the focus, but, like, if April was the Statue of Liberty, like, torch that's glowing, mind you.
Yes.
And the city of New York is behind me. I'm just, like, oh, hello! I'm going to tell you about how I put my wire on the Empire State. It was like weird dancing. I don't know. It was so bizarre.
At no point was I confused about what was going on.
No.
Because he narrates every action that occurs.
I make my way to the top, and I find myself standing on an island floating in midair on the edge of the void. Of course, I automatically look across to the opposite tower, but then I have to dare to look down.
I'm not afraid of heights in the least. There was like 2 shots where it was, well, when you're on the tightrope, you're never supposed to look at the wire, like right down. That's
right.
Then you fall and die. But there was a shot of just him, like if he looked right at his feet.
Yeah.
And they lingered on it for a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I would prefer this to stop.
There were a couple shots where I was like, Oh fuck! If we were watching this in 3D,
I
might be like not like ugh. I never really got a sense of anyone's characters.
Could you tell me anyone's name other than Philippe?
I don't even remember her name.
She is an afterthought.
Yep.
She never gets to go on the mission with them.
Nope.
They're always like, you just wait outside.
Go back to the hotel. If I'm not back in 5 hours, look for me at the police station.
That's
Like, there was never like a, you could kill yourself. Like,
Exactly.
she never had a moment where she was like, I don't want you to die. Or whatever. And so you were like, well, if she doesn't give a shit, I certainly don't. And then at the end, he's like, I decided to stay in New York. But Annie, unfortunately, decided to go back to Paris. And then she leaves.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. I mean, he's kind of a schmuck.
A little bit.
You know the last 20 minutes of Back to the Future where you want to, like, stab yourself because it's like, and then the wire breaks, and then this breaks, and then his pants are going to fall off, and then, oh my god, the car won't start, and you're just like, ah! Like, you're like, my brain's going to explode. Like, too many things are going wrong. That was this whole movie, almost.
Really?
What, like, it wasn't as intense because you didn't give a shit about the characters, but it was that, like, and then this went wrong, and then this went wrong, and then this went wrong.
I guess that was the thing.
Right?
The stakes seemed so low because almost everyone else was kind of just, like, assuming that he was going to do it.
Right.
Like, the assumption was that he was just going to do it. In the same breath that he says, oh, I got to the first parallel, and I found it was upside down, but it was okay.
Oh,
okay.
Well,
I guess that's not a big deal.
Oh, okay.
Everyone in these reviews is like, oh, it's kind of boring, but then it's amazing. And I'm like, no, it was still pretty boring.
Right.
Like, he walks across the first time.
If we're talking about entertainment value, I mean, when the seagull, like, when that happened, I was having a great time, but for the wrong reasons. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if the seagull was like, Philippe, I believe in you. You're gonna make it. You can fly like the rest of us. Like, would that have been out of the realm of possibilities?
Nope.
And then the bird just, like, carries him away.
It's just like Grease.
It's the end of Grease. Bye! Ah!